Okay, good evening to all of you. Mic test, can you hear my microphone? So please give me a thumbs up if my microphone is working. Good evening to all of our viewers who are now watching. Okay, please give me a thumbs up. Oh, thank you very much, Kumare. Thank you very much for giving me a thumbs up, Kumaring Laarni. Okay. Napakagandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Okay? Tonight, we have another episode of our Wednesday with yours truly, Doc Malutrahano. Doon sa mga datihan na, mga capacities na, napakagandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. At doon sa mga bago lang po no, sa ating Wednesday with Doc Malutrano, you might be wondering, sino po ba ito nasa harapan ng inyong screen? So let me introduce myself to all of you. I am Dr. Maria Lourdes Magbitang Trajano. Ako po ay isang pediatrician who have a specialization on pediatric neurology. And from a private Facebook page, I have come into a public uh, Facebook page, no, for many reasons, but I will only talk about four later on. Okay, and at the same time, no, I am a fur mom, okay, who loves cats, and I'm also a cat rescuer. Okay, I am the founder of Friend of a Cat Rescuer. Okay, so ito po yun, no? With our rescue mugs for cats and for dogs, no? So founder po ako ng Friend of a Cat Rescuer, and also I'm the founder of LT Publishing for my first book, Friends of, this is my first book, Work of Love, Embracing the Transformative Power of Life's Unexpected Changes, Memoirs of a Child Neurologist. This is a very inspiring book, all about love and life, career, hopes and dreams, struggles, success, and failures from childhood hanggang sa adulthood. So if you want to be inspired and you want to know more about me, please order or buy my book. Okay, dito sa Baguio City, it is available at Mount Cloud Bookstore. And for you abroad, no, here in anywhere in the Philippines, you can direct message me, no, at Doc Malu Trajano Facebook page or yung messenger, and I will ship the books for you for only 500 pesos. But of course, the shipping fee will be added dun sa pag-ship po ng libro. Okay? At the same time, no, I'm also um, soon to be a future marathoner. Okay? So yun po yung isa pang malalaman nyo by next week. Okay? So, nabanggit ko kanina, ano po bang purpose no to? Bakit ko ginustong maging digital creator? For four main reasons. Okay, number one is of course the reason why we have our Wednesday with Doc Malutrahano, and that is to educate the public, the whole world, about pediatric neurology. There is such a thing as pediatric child neurologists, no, specialists on children with neurological disorders. And with this Wednesday, no, with Doc Malu, hopefully ma-educate ko kayo, ma-update ko kayo on pediatric neurological disorders, no? So pediatric brain health po ang unang reason ng Facebook page na to. And second is of course animal welfare. I'm an animal welfare advocate, especially cat rescue TNVR, Trap, Neuter, Vaccinate, and Return. And that is the reason why meron po tayong uh, advocacy mugs, no? So binebenta ko po 'tong mga mugs na 'to for fundraising para sa mga pusa, no? Feral street community cats na kailangan po ng help, kailangan pong ma-rescue, no? Dito po kinukuha yung mga funds and gano'n din po do'n sa mga dogs na kailangan ng tulong. So ito pong mga mugs nito is whole year round available. All you need to do is just private message, order as much as you can, and we will deliver or ship nationwide. But the shipping fee is on you. Okay? So sana po ay maka-purchase kayo nitong mga exclusive designs ng ating friend of a cat rescuer rescue mugs. Okay. And third is of course promoting positivity. If you have already visited my Facebook page, um, marami pong mga good vibes, positive energy, positive emotions, no? Ang makukuha po ninyo sa aking Facebook page. Of course, this is real life, no? Digital creator, so pati yung aking sadness, failures, no? Disappointments, kasama po yan, no? Na nakikita nyo sa Facebook page ko na ito. And it's not to bring you down, but to gain lesson, to learn something from all the hardships, sadness, trials, and challenges I face in my life. But most especially, at yun po, ang punong-puno ang wall ko, ang mga post ko, it's about better you. Okay? Fitness, mental health, adventure. And as you have seen, I have been posting my journey to Osaka, Japan from October up to the present time. The struggles, the trials, and the challenges I've been undergoing every day for me to achieve a certain goal by February 22. And what is unique about me being a digital creator is this Wednesday with Doc Malutrahano. Okay, I really think about the topics and the speakers, resource persons I really invite so that this Wednesday will be a well of knowledge for all of you. And if you think, you like the content, our episode, feel free to share it as many as possible para mas maraming na-share, mas maraming matututo, mas maraming makakaalam ng knowledge kahit ito ay 30 minutes lamang. And kung talagang enjoy na enjoy kayo and you have spare, please do send me your stars. Pampataba po ng puso, pampa-inspire sa akin. Maraming salamat, Bachi, Ma'am Cynthia, Dr. Cynthia Feliciano. Okay? And sa inyong mga kamag-anak, kaibigan, i-share po ninyo ang aking Facebook page para maging follower ko po sila or member of the Capacitives community. And kung gusto niyo rin po ng mga exclusive quotes, exclusive happenings sa buhay ni Doc Malutrahano, subscribe to my Facebook page for only 99 pesos. At sa mga pasyente ko po, kung gusto nyong masagot kaagad ang inyong mga messenger messages, be a subscriber for only 99 pesos a month. Okay? At whatever platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, no? Andyan po ako lahat. So please do follow my other social media platforms. Tulungan po ninyo ako na umangat ng umangat ng umangat and for a reasonable and cost po ang anuman ang ating benefit from being a digital creator. Okay. So any thoughts, any comments, no? Email me at docmalutrahano25@gmail.com. Okay? And at the same time po, no, meron po tayong bagong feature dito sa Facebook. You can request me to do a videogram. So what is a videogram? A videogram po, i-message nyo po ako, i-request nyo na ako'y i-greet ko kayo sa special day nyo, sa birthday nyo, sa anniversary nyo, or whatever occasion, or you just want me to say good night, good morning to you, please request a videogram. Or you want me to discuss a very special topic, message nyo po and I will do a short videogram for your chosen topic, no, for only 299 pesos. Okay? Don't forget, no, whatever earnings I have here at Facebook, all goes to my friend of a cat rescuer advocacy for animal welfare. Okay, so moving on po tayo. Okay? You know, our topic for tonight, our 43rd episode of Wednesday, ang title po is Diving into Epilepsy Technology. Okay? You all know that epilepsy affects a lot of people, but mostly children compared to adults. And thanks to modern technology, support and safety tools are now better than ever. Okay? So today, as I mentioned earlier, we will talk about epilepsy and technology that's helping make life safer, smarter, and more manageable, especially for people living with epilepsy. Okay. Ang objectives po natin, no, lagi ganito is one, to increase awareness and understand epilepsy across all ages. So by Monday, we will be celebrating International Epilepsy throughout the world. Kumbaga, ito na po yung ating paunang pasabog in celebrating International Epilepsy Awareness. Okay. And more specifically, number two, we would try, to educate you through our resource person, our specialist, on modern tools and technologies that improve safety and quality of life for people living with epilepsy. Okay. Medyo napipiyok po ako kasi sobrang excited na po ako. Bigyan niyo lang po ako ng konting moment na ma-introduce ang ating guest for tonight. Okay. Our guest for tonight is somebody I know since 2003. I don't know if she still remembers, but the first time I saw her was when I entered their place in their house in Batangas. She was in their salas, no? She was reviewing for her licensure examination. And from then on, I have watched her, from the vicinity as a pediatric neurology fellow of her mother. Okay? And I'm so proud of her. Now that she's also a pediatric neurologist and having accepted my invitation to be a resource person to our Wednesday despite her busy schedule. Okay? So she had her BS Biology degree at the University of the Philippines in Diliman and Doctor of Medicine at the University of the Philippines College of Medicine. Okay, she had her residency in pediatrics at the Monmouth Medical Center in Long Branch, New Jersey, USA, and had her residency in pediatric neurology at the University of Chicago Medical Center, of course, in Chicago, Illinois, USA. But, but again, she pursued her fellowship in clinical neurophysiology, EEG, and epilepsy at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. She's a very busy pediatric neurologist and at the same time, teaching, okay, as a clinical associate professor at the Department of Neuroscience at the UP College of Medicine and a consultant in pediatric neurology and epilepsy, of course, at the University of the Philippines, Philippine General Hospital, in Medical Center Manila, Manila Doctors Hospital, and Perpetual Health Medical Center in Las Piñas. So friends and mga capacitives, let us all welcome our guest for tonight, Dr. Rhea Angela Salonga Kimpo. Friends, let's all give her a warm of applause and I will now accept her to join us. Okay. Ayan. Approve. Send request. Okay. So I see now that her video is being added. So yes. Good evening,
Hi, good
Dr.
evening.
Rhea.
Good evening, Malu. Good evening po.
Okay,
Good
I'm so
evening,
happy
mga
to see you. Pero siguro pa-volume up lang ng konti. Ayan.
yan. Okay na po.
Parang medyo mahina pa.
Ayan, okay na po ngayon.
Sige. Okay. To
Okay na
our
po.
audience, can you hear Dr. Rhea? So please give us a thumbs up. Okay. And please greet our audience or online audience, Dr. Rhea.
Ay, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Gustong-gusto ko ang ka-positives ni Doc Malu. Mga ka-positives, pinractice ko yan kanina. So, thank you, Doc Malu, for this opportunity. I think we're all in this advocacy together to help educate our kababayans and those in other places on epilepsy in particular. Thank you very much po.
Okay, thank you very much. I will now throw the first question. Okay. We will divide our discussion for tonight as part one and part two. Okay. Of course, part one, we need to, in general, educate the public regarding epilepsy. It's an epilepsy overview. And after that, we will go more specifically into our main topic, which is epilepsy technology. Okay, first of all, no, for our audience, no, mga parents, no, can we briefly, no, summary, what is epilepsy in children? We will only talk about epilepsy in children, common seizure, common na tinatanong, ano po ba ang mati-trigger para mag-atake ang aking anak? And how accurate are we when we clinically diagnose epilepsy in the absence of any neurodiagnostic test? O, yun muna yung first batch.
Okay. So, ang epilepsy po ay sakit kung saan ang brain natin ay may tendency to have recurrent seizures or paulit-ulit na seizures na hindi provoked, meaning hindi dahil sa lagnat, hindi dahil sa meron kang infection sa utak. So, parang meron lang siyang tendency na magkaroon ng paulit-ulit na seizures. Lagi kasing tinatanong, ano po ba ang kaibahan ng seizures sa epilepsy? Kung baga, the way I always explain sa mga parents ng patients, di ba, kunwari, yung hika or asthma, di ba? Sanay tayo, alam natin yung asthma or hika, yung sakit. Yung symptoms niya, pwedeng ubo or nahihirapang huminga or yung may halak or nag-wheeze. Ganon din po ang epilepsy. Yung sakit, yung epilepsy. Ang symptoms niya, yung seizures, no? Pero ang seizures po, hindi lang yung nangingisay. Iba-iba ang itsura ng seizure. Kasi po, ang seizure ay abnormal, dulot ng abnormal na electrical activity sa brain. Ngayon, depende po kung saan nanggagaling ang ating abnormal electrical activity, anong parte ng brain yung naaapektuhan, ganun po ang magiging itsura ng seizures natin. So, common kasi pag sinabi ng tao na seizure or epilepsy, ang iisipin agad natin yung nangingisay or tinatawag nating generalized tonic-clonic seizure. Pero marami pong iba't ibang klase ng seizure. Meron po tayong tinatawag na mga focal seizures. Ang ibig sabihin po ng focal seizures, yung abnormal electrical activity nang gagaling lang sa isang bahagi ng brain or isang side ng brain. So, ano yung pwedeng maging itsura? Pwede po na tulala lang yung bata. Pwede rin po na kumikindat-kindat na ganyan lang. May kasamang acting to, Doc Malu, ha? Kumikindat-kindat. Pwede rin po na nagjo-jerk lang yung isang kamay, pero alam niya yung nangyayari, pero hindi niya mapigilan yung pag-jerk, no? Kung naaapektuhan naman yung bahagi na nagko-control, kunwari ng paggalaw ng mata. Meron akong isang pasyente, parang napapatingin lang siyang ganyan sa isang side. Pero alam niya, nakakapagsalita siya, sinasabi niya sa mami niya, "Mami, naghahang na naman ako." Yun yung term niya. So, depende po kung anong parte ng utak yung naaapektuhan, pwedeng ganun yung itsura ng seizure. So, kaya importanteng malaman natin to kasi akala nung iba kaya hindi sila nagpapatingin kasi hindi yun seizure dahil hindi siya yung nangingisay. Tinatanong ni Doc Malu kung ano pa yung how accurate is yung clinical diagnosis, yung walang test. So, ang epilepsy po, clinical pa rin po ang diagnosis. Kailan ba tatawagin na natin tong epilepsy, no? Kung unang seizure lang, mahirap sabihin kung epilepsy na ito, no? Kasi para matawag natin siya na epilepsy, gaya nga nung sabi ko kanina, kailangan may paulit-ulit na seizure. So, by definition, yung International League Against Epilepsy, pwede mong ma-diagnose ang epilepsy. Una, kung meron kang seizures na nangyari at least 2 times na unprovoked, meaning walang dahilan, bigla na lang nag-seizure, separated by 24 hours apart. No? So, yun yung unang diagnosis. So, kung meron kang ganun, kunwari yung anak mo nag-seizure ngayon, tapos tumigil, wala namang lagnat, walang ibang problema, hindi mo pa agad masasabi. Pero kunwari, 3 days after, nag-seizure ulit, no? Kahit na wala pa tayong ginagawang test, pwedeng pag nakita kayo ng doktor, nag-fit na siya sa diagnosis ng epilepsy. So, yun yung isang criteria. Yung isa namang criteria, pwede rin nating ma-diagnose yung epilepsy kahit isang beses pa lang yung seizure kung meron tayong condition na nagpe-predispose or mataas yung risk na mag-seizure. Ano yung mga halimbawa yun? Kunwari sa mga bata na may cerebral palsy, dahil alam natin na mayroon na silang previous injury sa brain, then kahit isang beses pa lang siya nag-seizure, dahil yung risk niya na magkaroon ng paulit-ulit na seizures ay mataas, pwede na nating masabi na meron siyang epilepsy. Ganon din, kunwari, merong isang bata na may history siya ng, let's say, stroke nung baby siya. Kasi di ba minsan nangyayari po yun. Nagkakaroon ng stroke or bleeding sa utak habang baby at mahina yung isang side. Tapos, let's say, pagdating niya ng 6 months, nagkaroon siya ng seizure. Dahil sa history na yun, na alam natin may scar na siya sa utak, pwede na rin po nating magawa yung diagnosis ng epilepsy. And yung pangatlong criteria po ay kung nag-fit siya, meron po kasi tayong, lalo na sa mga bata, na tinatawag na epilepsy syndromes. Ano po ba yung mga epilepsy syndromes? Ito yung mga kondisyon sa mga bata na meron silang paulit-ulit na seizure, na may typical characteristic yung seizure. Alam natin, base sa mga pag-aaral, kung anong age sila lumalabas. At meron din siyang specific na findings on EEG. So, sa bata karamihan, sinasabi natin, mga 50% ng epilepsy sa bata, di ba? Yung iba sa kanila pwede rin mag-resolve over time, no? Yun pa yung isang importanteng konsepto kasi hindi po porket epilepsy forever na yun, di ba? Nung unang panahon, ganun ang pag-iisip ng mga tao. Kaya nga, pag binigyan ka ng diagnosis ng epilepsy, minsan iisipin nila lifetime na ito. Pero lalo na po sa mga bata, marami pong klase ng epilepsy sa mga bata ang after a certain age ay nagre-resolve or nagagamot and hindi na siya bumabalik. So, kaya important po na matignan kayo ng inyong doktor kasi hindi lahat ng epilepsy ay pare-pareho. So, yun po, Doc Malu.
Wow, thank you very much. Talagang very well explained at importante talaga no na maintindihan ng parents kung ano ba talaga kasi karamihan no we get patients na ika-10 beses nang nagsi-seizure and then only to find out na ganun na pala yung mga symptoms na akala nila ay hindi pala seizures dahil tama ka no yung ang alam ng karamihan ng ating public is yung GTC or yung nangingisay lang ang klase ng seizure. Okay, moving tayo, no? Once na na-diagnose natin yung epilepsy, no? Yung common na parang tanong ng parents, ano po ba yung makakapag-trigger para magkaroon ng another attack? O ano yung mga dapat na advice sa kanila?
Okay. So, unang-una po, dapat umiinom ng gamot. Kasi alam natin na, lalo na doon sa mga seizures na nagiging tinatawag nating generalized tonic-clonic or psych. Kasi po yung klase ng seizure na delikado. No? So, unang-una dapat umiinom ng gamot according to the prescription sa tamang oras, tsaka sa tamang dose. Kasi karamihan po ng nagbe-breakthrough or nagkakaroon ng atake kahit nagagamot, isa sa common na dahilan ay missed doses of your medication or incorrect doses of your medication. Pangalawa po, sa mga bata, importante ito. Kasi siguro, Doc Malu, bawal raw sabihin nung panahon natin. Pero nung panahon natin, dapat alas 7, alas 8, pag may pasok, tulog ka na.
Na.
Pero ngayon, opo, ngayon, minsan yung iba kong patients na nakukuha, nauna nang nakakatulog yung magulang bago sa anak, no? So, importante po ang good quality sleep and enough sleep. Kasi sleep deprivation or kulang sa tulog ay isa po sa mga triggers ng seizures, no? Yung common, alam ko dati sa news, maraming nagtatanong, totoo po bang na nakakasibrang pag-gadget? Diba, Doc Malu? Common yun din sa atin.
Yes.
So, hindi naman po lahat, no? Kasi specific seizure types, yung pwede talagang matrigger ng flashing lights sa gadget, no? Pero, ang lagi kong sinasabi, hindi yung gadget per se. Pero kung napupuyat yung bata dahil sa sobrang paggamit ng gadget, then that could trigger the seizure. Pero, meron talagang certain seizure types na pwedeng matrigger ng flashing light. Siguro, a short anecdote lang, meron ako isang patient na ang seizures niya talaga yung generalized seizures or yung nag-shake, no? Seizure free na kami for 2 years. So usually pag ganun, tapos bata, alam mo certain age, mawawala na or ma-outgrow na niya. So, nung time na nagagamot kami, as in strict talaga yung parents na hindi sila mag-gadget. Tapos, dahil nga 2 years, sige, nag-ask yung bata kung pwede na siya ulit mag-gadget. Alam niyo po, nakita nung daddy, so habang nanonood ng iPad yung bata, biglang nag-seizure, nung generalized seizure. Alam niyo po, nakita niya, sa TikTok, may pinapanood yung bata. Parang siyang hypnotic na video na nagpa-flash talaga yung lights. So sabi ko, yun ang good example na nakaka-trigger talaga yung certain videos ng generalized seizures. So yun po.
Yeah, agree. Totoo yan eh. Meron din akong ma-share na patient na pag-treatment, compliant talaga eh. Pero pag dumating na yung point na ita-trial mo na sila na taper down ng meds or yun nga, to that point na nakatigil na yung mga meds, feeling back to regular na late matutulog. Pero ang dahilan is yes, they're doing something with their screen time or gadget. And more than the recommended use ng screen time. And if I may add, it's yung blue light. The blue light that comes from the different gadgets or screen time that the children use are actually the one that would trigger our brain para wag matulog, kaya sila napupuyat, and then yan, the number one trigger, kulang sa tulog or sleep deprivation. Agree to that. Thank you very much. Ngayon, aside from the triggers, ano pa yung most common myth na or versus reality na dapat tandaan ng mga parents about epilepsy?
So, yung isa siguro na myth na common ay, well, sinabi ko na kanina, hindi lahat ng epilepsy ay forever, no? Meron tayong tinatawag na resolved or in remission kapag kailan ba natin yun nasasabi. So, kapag 10 years seizure-free and 5 years off medications, your epilepsy is considered resolved, no? Provided na walang underlying na structural abnormality yung brain, no? Secondly, yung isa din na kung kailan natin sasabihin na resolve, gaya nga nung sinabi ko kanina, kapag past na siya nung age na alam natin na mawawala na yung seizure niya in specific epilepsy syndrome. So, yun siguro yung isang important. Merong iba na parang yung sinasabi na, kunwari, yung stress, bawal pagalitan, ganyan. Ang isang batang may epilepsy,
Magtrabaho sa bahay.
bawal
Bawal.
magtrabaho, bawal mapagod. Yun po ay hindi naman po yun talaga. I mean, siguro extremes kasi may bagong mga studies na um, stress contributes no to uh, a trigger. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin ay hindi natin sila bibigyan ng any chores or kung may mali silang ginawa ay bawal pagalitan. No? Ayaw naman natin ng ganun. And yung isa pa na bawal silang mag-participate in like regular school activities or sports. Lagi ko pong ginagawang example, meron ako isang pasyente na swimming varsity. No, I let him continue as long as he is well controlled, taking meds, and alam nung coach niya na meron siyang seizure and kung ano ang gagawin in case of a seizure. Kasi ang ayaw po natin, limitahan yung activities ng ating mga anak just because they have epilepsy. Kaya nga po, iniiwasan na natin gamitin yung term na epileptic, di ba? Kasi po, ang ibig sabihin ng pag sinabi mong epileptic, para bang pag-aari ka ng sakit, di ba? Kaya ang correct term na po ngayon ay person with epilepsy kasi parang to highlight na hindi dapat nagro-rule yung sakit over your life, over the child's life, no? Kasi we want them to be as normal as possible. And siguro, Doc Malu, you've been in practice older than I have been. Nakakatuwa, di ba, Doc, pag meron tayong mga pasyente na nag-graduate na ng
Yes.
college, nagtatrabaho na, meron nga ako isang patient, meron na ako mga patients na may physical therapist, may psychologist, nakakatuwa. And they've learned to live with epilepsy because they did not parang limit themselves dun sa mga luma at maling paniniwala na porket may epilepsy ka, hindi ka na pwedeng mamuhay ng normal.
Yes, that's correct, no? Normal life, kahit na may ganong diagnosis, regular activities, tamang pagdisiplina, kahit na may sakit na epilepsy ang inyong mga anak. That's correct, and I agree to that. Ngayon, ito yung common na parang tinatanong bakit pa kailangan maggamot kung gano'n naman na parang at may ibang epilepsy na at a certain age is ma-o-overcome nila? Ano bang impact nito kasi sa growing brain ng ating mga bata?
Okay. So, alam po natin na pag may paulit-ulit na seizures, nakaka-affect siya sa daily function nila. No? Um, Meron talagang mga certain types na hindi necessary maggamot, pero it's always a conversation regarding parang safety versus risk of the medication. I mean, safety na ayaw mong mag-seizure yung anak mo sa school, di ba? Kahit na alam mo na eventually ma-outgrow rin to. Paano kung mag-seizure siya na mahulog siya? Let's say, habang umaakyat siya ng hagdan, mag-seizure siya, di ba? So, yun ang dahilan bakit pinipilin nating maggamot. And meron din naman talaga mga epilepsy na kailangan talaga natin bigyan ng gamot kasi nakaka-affect sa, yun nga, daily function. For example, may klase ng seizure, yung tinatawag nating absent seizure or absent seizure na natutulala lang naman sila. Pero natutulala sila kahit 3 to 10 seconds, pero it can happen hundreds of times per day. So, paano na sila matututo kung ganun kadalas yung seizure nila kahit na hindi sila masasaktan dun sa seizure nila? Tapos, nakaka-affect ang frequent seizures, gaya nga ng sabi ni Doc Malu kanina, sa brain development din. Dun sa mga malalalang klase ng epilepsy na napakataas or napakadami ng epileptic activity nila, na kahit wala silang seizure, yung brain nila tuloy-tuloy may epileptic activity. Kahit hindi na madalas ang kanilang seizures, it can affect cognitive function. So, nagiging mas slow sila in terms of learning. Some also would have speech difficulties. Kahit hindi frequent yung seizures, pero madalas yung epileptic discharges nila. Yan po.
Yan. So, importante na alagaan natin sila para ang kanilang learning, ang kanilang intelligence ay ma-maintain. So, yun po ang purpose ng ating pag-treat for children with epilepsy. Now, thank you very much for that very brief but concise overview about epilepsy in children. Now, moving on to our part 2. So, ito yung pinaka-exciting na I'm sure excited ang mga ating audience na malaman. It's about epilepsy and technology. Ano ba ang latest ngayon tungkol sa epilepsy technology?
Actually, sa ibang bansa po, marami na. Pero honestly, locally, wala pa akong na-encounter na locally available na wearables. So, yun tinatawag nating mga epilepsy wearables. Parang mga watch na sinusuot lang. They are seizure detection devices, no? So, sa US, meron ng FDA approved. Ang pangalan niya Embrace. So, para lang po siyang Apple Watch. Parang ganun, parang smartwatch na nade-detect niya yung seizures. Pero ang important po dito, ang mga nade-detect lang nitong wearable devices ay yung seizures na nagsa-shake.
Mm.
Kasi ano po ba yung basihan kung paano nila nade-detect? So, pag nagsi-seizure ang isang tao, may mga pagbabago sa katawan. So, una, yung heart rate tumataas. Secondly, yung tinatawag nating electrodermal activity. So, yung autonomic activity. So, mas may sweat sa skin, no? Third, yung muscle activity. Nafe-feel yung muscle twitch, di ba? So, itong mga bagay na to, yung kinokollect na data ng mga wearable devices para sabihin niya na may nagsi-seizure yung isang tao. So, kaya po, kung yung seizure ay tulala lang, hindi siya made-detect nung wearable devices. Actually, yun pa rin yung limitation ngayon ng mga common na seizure devices. Pero ang maganda dito kasi kung kunwari yung bata, ang type niya ng seizure ay yung tonic-clonic, yung nagsa-shake, um, bale, magsisend siya ng alert, no? Na nagsi-seizure, yun ay pwedeng naka-connect sa phone app through an app ng parent. Meron ding time na meron silang parang para siyang home base or parang charger sa bahay na mag-a-alarm din yon
Mm.
pag may seizure na na-detect. Ngayon, bakit ba yung ganong type ng seizure yung unang nagkaroon nitong seizure detection devices? Kasi yung generalized tonic-clonic seizure or kahit na nag-start ng focal tapos naging tinatawag nating bilateral tonic-clonic seizure, sila yung associated with higher morbidity or risk for injuries and higher mortality because there's also what we call SUDEP or sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. And these are more commonly associated with your tonic-clonic seizures, no? So, yun yung isang type of seizure detection device. Ngayon, meron ng mga under study ngayon na interesting one-channel EEG. Di ba ang EEG doon sa mga parents na may mga anak na nagpa-EEG, maraming kinakabit
Maraming.
sa ulo. Ngayon, meron na siyang, para lang siyang patch, sticker, na nakakabit po. Tapos, kaya lang syempre, dapat siya nakalagay kung saan alam natin na magpipick up siya nung ma-generate na abnormal electrical activity. Tapos, ganun din, nakakabit siya sa isang app. It records EEG tracing and pero from a single channel and then it will also signal an alert. Diba kasi ngayon, marami ng features na pwede nang ma-learn ng AI, no, how to predict. And based dun sa EEG findings ay or rhythms niya ay sinasabi na may seizure siya, then mag-a-alert na rin po yon sa parents. Pero unfortunately, wala pa nga po tayo dito sa ating bansa. Kasi may kamahalan rin yung mga parang devices na ito. And wala pa hindi ko po alam, pero wala pa from at least sa akin sa patients ko na nag-import nitong mga devices na ito. Yung more common siguro na at least may some experience na yung mga seizure tracker or seizure diaries. Marami po kayong iba-ibang apps na makikita sa Google Play Store or Apple Store na seizure trackers or seizure diaries. Merong isa na actually for international users.
Teka, Doc Rhea, parang na-disconnect yung volume. Teka, volume.
Ayan, okay na po.
Ayan,
Ayan,
okay.
sorry po.
Let's go back to the seizure tracker.
Okay. So may seizure trackers po. Ayun, sabi ko nga sa Google Play Store or Apple Store na pwede kayo i-download. Actually, most of them, you can get naman for free. Pero para dun sa mga kailangang i-alert, i-connect mo siya, kailangan siya ng subscriptions, no? Pero yung isa na actually parang nire-recommend ng Epilepsy Foundation, ang pangalan niya EpiPal, no? You can download that tapos you could choose either kung ikaw yung pasyente mismo or ikaw ay caring for a patient with epilepsy. And then, ang maganda dito, you can put in kung kailan yung seizures, no? And at the same time, you could also set alarms for your medication. So, parang ganon. Pero kahit hindi ka naman mag-download ng app, di ba? Kasi techie na tayo ngayon. Tsaka yung mga bata rin ngayon.
Oo.
Although, ako minsan preferred ko pa rin yung seizure diary. Pero kasi yung, lalo na yung mga iba, kunwari ang naiiwan sa bahay, hindi yung magulang para magbantay ng anak. So, mas madali na ililista. Pero, ang ano po dito, yung parang pwede mo na lang rin i-calendar or minsan yung iba, meron ako isang patient, meron kaming Google Sheet, nakashare sa akin yung kanyang seizures na tracker, no? So, pwede pong ganun. Maraming iba-ibang ways, no? But the important thing is you're able to share it with your provider when you have the visit. Same lang naman siya ng function ng ating regular notebook seizure diary, but it has added convenience and technology. And yun nga, yun for those na may subscriptions, pwede ka mag-send ng alert. In terms of utility of yung watch, no, yung mga smartwatch, siguro ang mapipick up lang doon yung heart rate. Yun siguro yung pwedeng, although hindi siya exactly, pero pwede natin gamitin na parang surrogate siya. No? Pero again, hindi natin sigurado kung lahat ba ng increases in heart rate are really seizures, no? So yun lang yung caveat doon or yung parang dapat hindi natin interpret. Ang isa pa na marami naman ngayon, lalo na sa mga babies, no, very useful po yung mga wireless na CCTV cameras, like baby monitors.
Yeah.
Those are very helpful because a lot of my patients po ganon, yung mga infants na may epilepsy, meron silang baby monitor. At least po, then kung mag-seizure, they can send the video. You can send the video.
Yeah, nawala ulit. Okay. Habang kine-check ni Doc Rhea yung kanyang audio, gusto ko lang din i-share. I have a patient, no, na gumagamit din ng AI ng seizure diary. Okay? Okay na ba yung audio natin? Parang wala pa. Wala pa. Okay. Okay, share ko lang habang inaayos si Dr. Rhea ang kanyang audio. I also have a patient, no? Dalawa yon. So, yung notebook na regular na naglilista ng diary, bawat page, bawat araw. Pero ang drawback doon, pag nalimutan yung notebook, hindi na natin accurately makikita yung kanyang seizure attack. Pero meron din akong patient na sa cellphone nila. So, doon nila nililista ang kanilang attacks ng kanilang anak. And meron naman yung isa, talagang nakasubscribe siya. Nasisend sa akin yung daily weekly, monthly, and naka-pie chart para yung percentage ng generalized, partial, and kung ilang beses kada linggo. So, ganun yung graph na or page, coupon band na sinesend niya sa akin para ma-monitor yung kanyang anak ng attacks. Okay? Okay na ang audio natin? Wala pa. Wala pa. Oh, to our audience, please give a thumbs up pag naririnig niyo si Dr. Rhea or baka yung phone ko pala yung may diferensya. Okay, to our audience, please give us a thumbs up pag kung naririnig niyo si Dr. Rhea. Okay. Mukhang wala pa. Okay. Yan. So, marami tayong questions, ha? Okay. So, standby lang po yung mga questions. Ayusin lang po natin yung audio ni Dr. Rhea. Okay. So, Dr. Rhea, parang nakamute ka. Kasi nakamute yung microphone dito sa akin. Nakamute yung area sa'yo. Okay, sige. Log out muna daw si Doc Rhea. Ayusin niya yung setup niya. Habang ako naman ay magpapatuloy na magkwento sa inyo. So, yun po, no? Marami pong ways to for your seizure diary. Pwedeng yung old style, which is your notebook. So, bahala na po kayo kung anong klaseng notebook. Pero natutuwa lang po ako sa mga pasyente ko na meron yung isang patient ko, ganito lang kalit yung notebook niya. Okay? And doon po nire-record ang seizures, no, ng kanyang anak. At meron naman din akong patient na ganyan po kalaki yung notebook. And natutuwa ako na lagi po nilang dala yon every time na nagpo-follow up para nakikita ko po ang daily, no, daily logging ng seizure ng kanilang anak. Okay, so, okay. Ayan, andyan na po si Dr. Rhea. Okay.
Ayan, okay
Ayan.
na po. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You are in. So nakawento ko lang sa kanila, no, na yung may old style and then may AI help na seizure tracker ng mga pasyente. And whatever style that they are using, I truly appreciate it. Kasi yun yung basihan, no, for us to decide what we're going to do with the management and of course the treatment. Okay,
Yes
thank you
po.
very much for that. No, aside from the tracker, the smart watches, ito yung common na tanong eh. Do all patients with epilepsy need safety gadgets? And where
Ah,
can they avail of it?
okay. So, not all patients po. Actually, merong guidelines na nilabas yung International League Against Epilepsy and International Federation of Clinical Neurophysiologists na ang seizure detection gadgets ay only indicated in those with tonic-clonic seizures, no? Kasi nga po, yung tonic-clonic seizures pa lang yung kayang ma-detect ng currently available gadgets. And also, ang type ng seizure associated with the highest risk for injuries or accident and sudden unexpected death ay yung tonic-clonic seizures. So, hindi naman po lahat. No?
Locally ba? Meron dito sa Pilipinas o kay Shopee and Lazada available?
Doc, wala pa akong nakita na locally available. Puro imported. Meron po. Actually, isang kasamahan ko dito sa Manila na pediatric neurologist, nagtanong nga siya sa akin kasi kung nakatry na daw ba ako kasi may patient siya na gusto. Yung Embrace 2, yun yung US FDA approved. I think baka sa Amazon available po siya. Parang around $300 yung parang watch. Pero depende pa yung iba pa yung bayad po dun sa subscription, I think.
Okay, thank you very much for all of that. Ang dami nating learning tungkol sa epilepsy and technology. Pero, kailangan nating balikan ito. Our very reliable and what we always use is our EEG. Yung EEG natin ngayon digital na tayo. Um, Comparing yung isa-isang kinakabit na electrodes and the one na easy, yung cup. Kasi yun yung mga sinasabi ng mga pasyente ko, wala ba kayong cup na isushoot na lang? Dahil nga, ang likot ng mga bata, it's also a challenge to do pediatric EEG kasi.
Yeah, actually, Doc, locally available, meron na po yung mga newer models nag-o-offer ng pwedeng cap. No? Meron silang attachment for a cap. Ang challenge kasi is, basta yung cap ay tugma or appropriate dun sa size ng ulo ng bata, kung kasya na siya. I think siguro kung yung teenager na ganyan, kasya. Pero meron rin naman silang child cap. Pero kung masyadong malaki yung cap, for the size of the head of the child, hindi siya recommended. So, dapat may appropriate size na cup. Pero, recently lang po, meron pong nagpa-demo kasi kami ng new EEG machine. Yun, we were informed na available na po yung mga cup locally. No? Siguro, hindi lang natin siya ina-advise kung kunwari po ay the test will be done because it's what we call pre-surgical evaluation or potentially for epilepsy surgery yung bata. Kasi kailangan natin exact measurements because of we want more accurate localization of where the seizures and the spikes are coming from.
Okay, thank you for that. Bigyan kita ng 1 minute rest habang chine-check ko yung ating questions dito. Okay, I will just scroll. And thank you very much dun sa mga nag-send po ng stars. I will acknowledge you later with our post. I think the first question is dito, no? Sir, ibibigay ko na lang po yung clinic contact numbers ng secretary ni Dr. sa inyong messenger kasi yun eh. Dr. saan pong clinic nyo? Salamat po. So, ako na lang ang magbibigay since I know the number of the secretary. And then, yung isa may question dito, yung pamangkin ko po, diagnosed autoimmune encephalitis last 2024. Continuous naman pong gamot niya and EEG test, pero si-seizure pa din siya once a month. Nagno-normal naman po ang EEG result niya. Any comment?
Okay. Hindi po ibig sabihin pag normal ang EEG ay wala ng epilepsy. Remember po, ang ating routine EEG or yung common nating ginagawa na outpatient EEG, we're only getting a shot, a short 30 to 45 minutes recording. And pwede po talaga na in between seizures ay normal ang EEG. Kaya nga lagi natin sinasabi, hindi porke normal ang EEG, hindi ibig sabihin na nito wala kang epilepsy, no? So, kaya po, kailangan pa rin yung clinical course ng pasyente and kung nagsi-seizure pa rin kahit normal ang EEG, kailangan pa rin pong ituloy ang gamot. Minsan kasi talaga may mga pasyente na hindi nakokontrol ng iisa or dadalawang gamot, no? Meron tayong tinatawag na mga difficult to treat epilepsy. And baka po ganun yung sa case ng pamangkin yun. Kaya meron pa rin pong seizures kahit umiinom ng gamot.
Okay, thank you very much. Time check, it's already 9:26. Ang bilis ng oras, pero ang dami na nating natutunan from our guest, Dr. Rhea. Ngayon, may bago kasing segment ang aking Wednesday, and I call this Rapid Fire. So if you're familiar with Fast Talk with Boy Abunda, similar, but this time, yung Rapid Fire is all about medical. So walang personal na questions. And you have to answer each question as fast as you can. Kaya nga rapid fire with at least 1 or 2 words, no explanations. Okay, here's rapid fire number 1. What's one gadget or device you think every family dealing with epilepsy should know about?
Seizure tracker, very important.
Thank you very much. Number 2, if you could recommend only one app to help track seizures or medication, what would it be?
EpiPal.
Ayon. bago yon, EpiPen. And last but not the least, what's the biggest myth people have about epilepsy technology that you want to correct?
So not everyone with epilepsy needs a seizure detection device. Ang parents, ang caregivers, ang best seizure detection device.
Yes, and mga cellphone.
Opo,
I-video ang
cellphone.
attack. Yun ang lagi ko ng parting words. I-video nyo ang seizure ng inyong anak for accurate description. With that, last 2 minutes, Dr. Rhea, please give your final words of advice or message to our audience.
Okay. So, una, Doc Malu, maraming salamat po ulit for this opportunity. Siguro, ang final words ko lang, epilepsy ay hindi dapat maging hadlang sa pagkakaroon ng normal na buhay, hindi ng bata, kundi ng pamilya. Ito ay mahal, pero sa pagtutulungan ng pamilya, kasama ng inyong doktor, hopefully ay malulunasan natin or mabigyan natin ng normal na buhay ang inyong anak. So, yun lang po. Maraming salamat mga ka-positives and have a good Wednesday.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rhea. And I'm really happy to have this talk with you at Wednesday. And see you soon. April, tama ba? Or sa March, next month, kasama ka ba
Opo.
namin?
Yes po.
Okay, I'll
Yes,
see you
po.
next month. Good night, and now have your beauty sleep. I-remove na kita from our Wednesday.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. Okay, mga ka-positive, sobrang saya ko. Ang dami nating bagong natutunan ngayon, lalo na sa seizure tracker, yung mga recommendations ng epilepsy society. Okay, pero syempre, before I officially close our 43rd episode, let me just remind all of you, please, mga ka-positives, please buy or get a copy of my book. Ito po ay talagang kapupulutan nyo ng aral, and hopefully, bago pa mangyari ang problema, ay ma-avoid na po ninyo by reading through my life experiences. Okay, it's only 500 pesos, Memoirs of a Child Neurologist. Sa Osamis, people, I'll be there on March. So sana po you will also grab or get a copy of my book. Magdadala po ako ng ilang copies. And please help me support, continue my TNVR advocacy by purchasing my rescue mugs. Okay? Please private message me if you want to order any of my mugs, whether it's a dog or a cat mug, and my book. And of course, sa mga nag-send ng stars, maraming salamat po. Continue sending me your stars to any of my content, not only here at Wednesday. Okay. At higit sa lahat po, no, tulad ng nabanggit ko sa mga dalawang post ko, if you want to support my ongoing training, support my energy gels, no, and my hydration sachets for only 99 pesos, send it through my GCash. Sulat nyo na lang po yung pangalan nyo kung sino po yung nag-send ng support para sa aking training for my first marathon in Osaka, Japan. Okay. So, tulad po na nabanggit ko, please share all of my contents to all of your kapamilya para mas marami pong matuto about the topics that I discuss on Wednesday with yours truly, Doc Malutrano. Give your comments, give your, whether it's a positive or negative comment, feel free to send it there and write it in the comment section. And alam niyo po, no, kailangan ko pa po ng maraming followers. So sana po, invite niyo po lahat ng kaibigan niyo, classmate niyo, ka-office mate, kapitbahay niyo, kaaway niyo na mag-join po at maging follower at maging capacity. At kung gusto niyo naman po mag-subscribe at magkaroon ng exclusive views in life about me, about my activities, where I am, kung hindi niyo po ako mahanap, for only 99 pesos a month. Okay? So sana po, invite, share, send stars, subscribe, order or request for a videogram. So sana po abangan nyo next week, February 11, ang ating episode. It's about, wala po tayong guest. It's all about me, about my road to Osaka journey. Yun po ang pag-uusapan natin next week. And together, let us help build a community of capacitives, spreading positivity and a community service to all. So, today, no, pinakita po natin that people living with epilepsy need not face epilepsy alone. Marami po tayong support group, may understanding, and life-changing tools nandyan lang po sa ating abot kamay. So, maaring complex po ang epilepsy, but with this awareness, support, and the help of modern technology, people can now live a safer and more empowered lives. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.